Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. Today I decided to do a real-time tutorial and we will be painting this fun and beautiful painting. It's a tulip painting and I will show you the finished product here right now. And this is the finished one, and now we're going to go to start painting. Well, I wanted to say that I already made a sketch and I prepared a sketch for you, so you can download it for free from my website, and you can find a link down in description box. Also in description box you would be able to find all the materials I'm using for this painting, so you can check it out maybe after you watch this video or before we start, and prepare yourself for painting. And okay, first we're gonna start with pre-wetting our paper, and I also sprinkled my palette where my watercolors are, so they would be ready for picking up to prepare them for painting. And I also dipped my brush. I'm dipping my brush into water, and I will just spread this water that I sprayed onto my paper. This is cotton watercolor paper. It is, I'm not sure, I think it's Centenaire, something like that it's called. And well, it is 100% cotton paper. I almost always use that one, and Clairefontaine Fontaine watercolor paper, also cotton watercolor paper, and I just love them. They're perfect, and I think a little bit more cheaper. This is Mother Lake Red Light, and I will mix this one with Cadmium Yellow Medium, I'm sorry. And I think if you are watching my videos, you probably already noticed that that is the color combination that I love. It just stays this pinkish color, warm red color, pinkish or whatever, but it just gets that perfect shade. And I love to mix those two colors. We want this to be pretty transparent and not really saturated, so I'm watering down it with quite amount of water. And we're gonna just do this on our tulips, just here and there. This is just gonna be the first, our very light layers, so you don't have to actually any particularly bother yourself where are you placing the paint, and for it to be saturated. And now I'm gonna just, I need more water. I'm gonna sprinkle so that I get the paint here and there. And as you can see, I'm just placing it randomly. I'm not really painting in my tulips yet. And I will be adding a little bit more of that Cadmium Yellow Medium, and just that. And also try to sprinkle it. And I'm doing it with a larger brush, so my sprinkles are also larger. And maybe some here. And so, you know, I actually bought myself today. I was in a local just grocery shop, and I saw this beautiful tulips, and well, I just had to buy them for myself. So when I bought them, I put them on this is just the clean water. Now I'm using a smaller round brush and sprinkling in some clean water. If you hear something working, that's my computer recording the voiceover, the voice right away. So if you hear some noise, that is my computer. So as I was saying, I was at this local grocery shop and bought them, and when I came home and put them on my desk, I was looking at them and I thought to myself, well, I have to paint that. I just have to paint that. So that's it. Enough. We won't go overboard because we want this first layer to be fairly light. And I'm gonna show you. See here, I just got them So they're very, very beautiful. I love tulips, and you know what? I suppose I just want to surround myself with flowers. I love flowers, and well, I had to do it. And actually there were a couple of you asking to do some flowers, so this is it. And well, I'm gonna dry it right now, and we'll go on, we'll do the next step. So this is not completely dry yet. I see that all of the white spots were lost when I started to dry my paper, when I started to dry my paint, because it was already saturated with water. There were just a lot of water on it, and well, when I started to dry it, that all meshed up and didn't leave those white, well, sprinkles that I wanted. So I stopped drying it before it was completely dry, and now I'm just adding that again, white, just clean water splashes to add back that white. And you see there are just forming some blooms here, because here was pretty dry, and well, maybe in some couple of places more, and that is perfect. We love that. This is a beautiful, well, somewhat abstract painting, and we should have, I love having those, well, different textures and blooms. That is just perfectly fine. So we're gonna dry it and continue. So this is now completely dry, and I'm bringing back my paint here. And well, the next step will be to wet the, well, only part where our tulips are. And I want to place this because I want to, well, you know, my hands are probably greasy, and I don't want to grease my paper with them, because this part I like to have my hand laying on paper, not being in air, and it makes it easier for me to wet, not to cross the lines. But even if you do cross the lines, doesn't matter. This time it should not be too wet, just a little bit damped, because we don't want our paint to spread too much. And I'm gonna use this. This is a detail brush. It's actually called, I think it's called rigger brush. And we're gonna take again the same mixture, but this time a little bit more saturated, and go more on, not completely across the line, but well, see, somewhat, and just leave the paint to, well, spread inwards. Same thing we're gonna do here, the other side, and it will spread and go into this petal, but that is also fine. You know, you shouldn't be bothered with that. Even if it does, that it's all fine, because we will later on do some, well, make some borders and create some difference between them, between our petals, like that. This one even may be entire, because it is underneath, and I think this is it. Now we're gonna leave that to start drying, to slowly dry, and we're gonna go on our next. I think it's easier to do this one first than this one second, because if I do this first, it would be difficult to do this one. So I'm doing this one first. Again, just don't use too much water, just a little bit to help our paint to spread around. And like that. Also pick up some paint and just go along the line. Like that. Oh, I love watching those watercolors just spread and dance all over a paper. You know, you gotta love those watercolors. See, I've gone over my border here. It doesn't matter. Just wipe it while it's still wet. But you know, it doesn't even matter if you go a little bit outside your border. That is also fine. And we're gonna go here, some inside. You know, add some lines, and this we can just paint. It's lower petal, we can paint it all the way, and this couple of small ones like this. See, I'm not really doing any much details. I'm just letting paint to float, just giving the space to our paint to do its thing. So this one is now also done just for now, and I just picked up only Mother Lake Red Light, and it just quite a saturated amount, and I'm gonna go just in some couple of places along our petals, just to give them a little bit more texture. And I'm not gonna do that really too much, just again some parts to help, well, to make some highlights and shadows. And we will go, you know, once more inside there and add a bit more, but this is just for now. And like that, spread some paint here and there. Like this. This is actually very free style, so you can, whatever you feel like, do. It's gonna be fine. You know, I'm just showing you, just giving you the idea how to do it, but of course if you want to add on something yours and make it your own, that is just fine. Like that, and just help it a little bit to spread to inside, you know. And our paint is drying already. Our paper is drying already slowly. And we're gonna go to the last one. Also first pre-wet it. And you know, if it's maybe even better that you just stay inside your lines that you drew and go even a little bit more inside than to go over. But even if you do go over, that is also just fine. This time I'm going to use a smaller round brush just to see, you know, how the paint will flow if you use that one. So of course, if you don't have the detail brush, rigger brush, you can use a smaller round brush. You see, that is also fine. And just go on line and just give that paint a little nudge to, well, do its thing. And again, it will go over the lines, but that is fine. If we didn't want it to go over the lines, we wouldn't, you know, we wouldn't wet the entire tulips, but just the parts where we wanted our paint to spread, and we do want for it to go all the way. So we're gonna make, we will make some stronger borders once this layer is dried. And I'm just gonna add those, well, more saturated lines like here and here, those two petals, and like this, and maybe some here. This. And this one is also inside, so we're gonna make it a little bit darker. And well, I think this will be it for now, just to dry it a little bit, and we'll go on to the next step. And I'm looking here, you know, just maybe some softening if you like. And I'm gonna add a little bit more of that darker, more saturated color here. There you go. And we're gonna dry it, and we'll go to the next step. Now that this completely dried, we're gonna use some cadmium yellow cadmium yellow medium. I don't know why I'm saying lemon today. It's not lemon, it's cadmium yellow medium. And you know what? We're gonna mix it with just a little bit of, I think it's Mars brown, to give it a little bit more. You could actually maybe use yellow ochre or even raw sienna for this. And I'm gonna go just some places like this. Oh, this is maybe too dark. Doesn't matter, we'll use water to water it down, and just go all on some borders, parts of the flower. And I did not pre-wet the paint for this. I'm just, you know, adding it without pre-wetting. Just to give it a little bit more texture and interest here and there, you know. To our petals. Like this. And I won't go all the way into my petals, just some parts. So I'm going in first with only paint, and then rinsing my brush, and with water just spreading it a little bit. So yellow ochre, cadmium yellow medium, and Mars brown. And Mars brown is, well, you will probably see when this is dry, is pretty granulating color, pretty much granulating. So this is also one of the reasons why I'm using it. I love the effect that it just leaves on our, you know, petals. Just, I think it looks very beautiful. And we want our lower parts of our petals to be darker, so I'm just darkening this part. And this is it. Now we're gonna go to the next one. Maybe I should have started with this one because now it's difficult to go, but you know, we'll manage. And I'm rinsing my brush again and just spreading the paint. See how beautiful that looks. That combination of those colors, that Mother Lake red light. And I just wanted to say, if you don't have, a lot of you I know don't have that color. If you do not have that color, well, that is just that is actually a warmer red. So you can use any warmer red you have. Just mix it in with a little bit of, and you know, it is warmer red, but it also is a little bit pinkish. So you should not be using warm reds like, you know, primary red, or maybe I'm looking scarlet. Those are quite, you know, those are quite warm colors, and this one is warmer but not so warm. So I'm just again mixing. See, you should maybe pre-mix a little bit more of your color. That is also a good solution, so you don't have to mix more and more and more. That's almost always something that I almost always do. And you know what, I'm gonna add just on this border. And you know, see how fun this is. And some maybe here inside this petal and on this one. You know, you don't have to add it on every single petal, but I do love the combination of those two colors, so I am actually adding to every petal. And maybe some more here. Well, this is still wet, you know, to do a little bit more texture. And the last one, you see how much this is granulating, you can see right now, and it's drying, and I do love that. I just love the effect that I'm getting. Oops, I got some water here. Oh my god, this is already 20 minutes gone. You know, I just, well, when I paint, I just completely lose track of time, and sometimes I really do finish quite fast, but sometimes I just play around and I noticed that time just flew. Oh my god, it just completely flew, and I got what? Already, you know, and well, it happens when you're enjoying yourself. I suppose time flies. And here, and I am planning to, well, to work a little bit more on our, so just so you know, I will come back a little bit more to our petals, to our every tulip. Oh, I got some hair here. That is quite annoying. Find it to be very, very annoying to have the hair in my painting. And like this. Just want a little bit more of that Mars brown. This petal, and maybe here. And that's it. Now I will use some Mother Lake red light and that cadmium yellow medium mixture. Maybe step in here and do some couple of sprinkles, and I do need to load more, you know, and this will dry so beautifully. And here more, and this one already is almost dry, so the paint doesn't spread, float as much, so I'm gonna just stop in to re-wet it again. And well, for those couple of those sprinkles to there you go, see, now like that. Well, that's it for now. We're gonna leave that to dry and do the last details. And there you go. And now the last thing we're gonna do is use that again, Mother Lake red light, and quite saturated. And you know what, I'm gonna use sepia. It's here, and I'm gonna add it to my Mother Lake red light, and maybe make a little bit more of that mixture. So I just have prepared enough, and with that mixture I'm going to do some details on my flowers, on my petals, and we're gonna start right here, tiny, and then just brush and, you know, do like this. And again, start here and maybe skip some part, wiggle your brush, and like that. And again here, wiggle, maybe some darker, lighter. And you know, we're gonna this way make our distinctions between our petals. And you know, I just love that. I love this brush for that technique. I just, when I was in my butterfly crazy crisis, just painting butterflies, and I don't know how much of them, painted quite a lot. I found this way, and I just found it to be so perfectly satisfying. And this is only Mother Lake. I'm gonna add that one just to make it a little bit more poppy. I mean, to make it a little bit more pop. And you know, I found this technique and I just fell in love with it. So that's it, and now we're gonna add a little bit more of that here in our corners to make that distinction a little bit less, you know, screaming at us. And like this. This is my notifications. There you go. Like this. And just maybe a little bit more here. Again, a bit more here. Just to make that part a little bit darker. So everything just is more in sync. And here, this part where those petals meet, just to add that bit more richness to that part. And now I'm gonna again sprinkle some of that while this is still wet. And I don't think I will do anything more to that one. You know, one more thing, I'm gonna use only cadmium yellow medium and just add a couple of sprinkles of that, just to give it a little bit more interest. And that's it. This one is finished. Now we're going on to the next one. And we're gonna start with this one. So as said, to make it easier for ourselves. And like this. Maybe go outside the border, that's also fine. You know, you don't have to stay in. Like this, and just again to give it some interest. And to, well, just to make the, well, to make the impression where the lines are, where the one petal ends and other one starts, and just again adding some darker here parts, just again to make a distinction, you know, between lighter and darker parts. And I'm gonna maybe just add a little bit here, and you know, I'm just rinsing my brush, and then after I rinse it, I'm just spreading the paint, and that's it. You know, just a little bit of that Mother Lake red light again, and just add it a bit here, you know, to add a little bit more dimension to our painting and our petals. And just maybe go like this, and then just add it there. And again on this side. There you go. Hope I'm not boring you, you know, with this. I don't think I am, but you know, you let me know if I am, but you know, I know you've been asking for a couple of times to do this sort of video again, so I don't know, maybe I'm repeating myself, but you know, if you're painting with me, that's awesome. If not, if you're just watching, well, just enjoy yourself. And on to, just a second, our next. Just need a little bit more of that mixture, and we're going to our next, to our last, tulip. And I'm gonna take this one and do the same here. A little bit more of that mother and a little bit more of sepia to that mixture, and just, You know, I really love that. I really love, you know, when with that, those textures look and the impression that I get. You know, just with the tip of your brush, then just press and again lift. I love that. And you know, as I said, that was just when I was in my butterfly phase. That is how I painted my butterflies, and I love that. I found this technique to be so enjoyable and so satisfying. So it really is awesome. And this now, just again some darker, and here some darker parts. I hope you're enjoying. You know, I wanted to say one more thing. You don't have to have the same colors as I do. I said that already about Mother Lake, to use another warm red, but I want you to know that in general, when you're following my videos or anybody's videos, you know, you don't have to, well, you don't have to feel the pressure to have exact same colors as I do, to use exact same colors as I do. You know, you can just use, you can paint those tulips green if you want to. That is fine. Those are your tulips and you can use any color you want, you know. Just make them as happy and bright and cheerful as you like, and use your favorite colors. You know, you don't have to use my favorite colors or anybody else's favorite colors for that matter. Just use the colors you love. And I see here I lost my definition. Too much water, I suppose. So this is still wet, and I'm going in and adding a little bit more, you know, of pigment to, well, so it doesn't turn out at the end to be, you know, boring and in this completely same color. This is still a little bit wet. See how much water I used, and this is also okay. And I will dry it just a little bit, and then we'll do some more sprinkling. There you go, just a little bit. And I'm gonna use again that cadmium yellow medium, and I'll just sprinkle in a couple of splashes here to give that, again, some texture and some variation in color. Well, this is still wet, but not really too wet. And it can go over. We have that color in our background, so it's fine. And I guess the last thing that it's left to paint is our stems. Or for stems, we're gonna use green. I really don't have place in my palette for the green, so I'm gonna add it here like this. And you know what, I'm going to wet first my stems, because I want the paint to float, you know, and I just need a bit more pigment. There you go. And I will take this detail brush, rinse it, because I see there's just a little bit paint on it, and I'm gonna use that sepia here and add sepia on the other side. you know, for it to make some difference in color for stems. Stems? Right, stems. There you go. And just a little bit of that, again, cadmium yellow. Medium. Which just went into my black. See, when you don't have the place really on your, like this, when you don't have the place on your palette, I just blotched this one in a very, very big I'm just trying to say that I wasn't careful with space on my palette, so now I should either wash it and make some space, or just do what I'm doing right now and trying to make the best with what I have. And just again, this is a little bit more sepia. This. So some more sepia here, and I'm gonna add that here and here, you know, to just darken those parts a bit. And the last one, the last stem, that is again some green. It's pretty warm in my studio, so my paint and everything is drying pretty fast. Must admit, it's quite annoying, you know, when that occurs. I just have to re-wet it all the time, and when you like to be warm, and I do like to be warm, so one can't go without the other, right? And like this, just a little bit more of that sepia here. Oh, I love when that paint just goes like this. Isn't that the best thing ever? Watercolors are just so gorgeous. And that's it. And there is just, I suppose, one more thing I want to do. And since I've lost a lot of my definition when adding, I just want to do, you know, here and there again, those, you know, beautiful definitions. And this time I'm using only Mother Lake, and I'm not gonna go in every single, you know, part of my painting, of my petals, just where I feel like adding a little bit more, you know, interest. Just giving it a little nudge, a little nudge of paint. And you know, this is really not any special technique. It's just, and I'm really not trying to, well, reveal any huge secret, but just all this is just enjoy yourself video. And there you go, this here. There you go. And just, I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna load in with that Mother Lake only, and just again sprinkle some more. Never enough sprinkling. If you watch my videos regular, you see that I do love sprinkling in the paint. This is cadmium yellow, and just a couple of those splatters, and just a little bit of sepia in those, well, lowest parts to give them a special darkening. And this is it. I think we're finished now, and I don't think I want anything more. You know, just I love this just the way it is right now. These are our tulips finished, and well, I hope you liked it. Now the only one thing left is to take off our washi tape. And there you go. And this is our finished piece, our finished tulips. And well, I hope you liked it and you find something particularly fun about it. There is one more thing I want to do. Of course, there is one more thing I want to do. I will move this because it's quite dirty, and I'm gonna take my other palette, also dirty, but you know, this one I have some white gouache here, and I will get that. I think that is actually something that is missing, and I'm gonna add that white gouache in a couple of spots, and I think it will make a huge difference. Huge difference. Again, I'm just going like that, pressing a little bit harder, and this, in my opinion, this will be, well, this will definitely be the finishing touch on our tulips. I almost forgot that. But you know, as much as you need shadows, that is as much as you need highlights. So they will again dry fairly lighter, so you don't have to be afraid of using that white gouache, and I will do a couple of splatters that also. And I think that really made a difference, don't you think? Don't you think that made a difference? I'm sure you do. Okay, now this is really finished and done. And well, I hope you liked it and you enjoyed this video. And if you did like it, please hit the like button and share, comment, tell me what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, any maybe suggestions you have. And if you haven't still, please subscribe to my channel. And I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!